Hello and welcome back to another matchcast from the Sakura Spring Championship in Shogun 2, played between MiN in the black banners and Noobie in the orange banners. Both players have featured on my channel in the past, so quite known in the Shogun community, and this is part of a best of 3 series in round 2. And the map for this battle was picked by MiN. And here we do see an archery dojo on the left, a workshop in the center, and the sword dojo on the right. So from MiN's perspective, center right probably a bit more important. Build-wise, MiN has opted to go for a strong infantry core with 4 lone swords on Banzai upgrades, so rank 9, 2 extended range matchlocks, a 200 range Daikyu, a low-level Yarisam, 2 Spear Ashigaru units, and a couple attendants. Only 3 CAF units, of which only 1 is a heavy CAF and a Yari CAF rank 2. And his general is a leadership gen. Very interestingly, Noobie has decided to go for a very similar approach. Also, not as much CAF as you might expect in a between 2 good Shogun 2 players. So it's only 3 CAF units for Noobie, which isn't a lot, but at least it's heavy CAF and also some of it highly vetted. So we have rank 4 Yari CAF twice and the rank 6 Yari CAF. And then he also brought Banzai lone swords, although only 3 in number, as opposed to MiN's 4 lone swords. And in exchange, he has a couple more lowly vetted Yari Ashigaru units. Yeah, three matchlocks in total, although none of them with extended range, and also a 200 range Daikyu. The general is also leadership gen, so very similar in that regard for Noobie. And positionally, Noobie seems to be a little more committed to this left-hand side. Seems also a little more passive with his right flank utilizing the forest patch here, which is, I think, a good idea. When you have a forest at your disposal, it's always a good idea to use it. Forest advantage is really underrated, especially in skirmish fights. Yeah, we see some nice shots by the Daikyu on the matchlocks, which is going to be quite costly for MiN, as these are matchlock warrior monks. But I think one of the decisive factors is going to be who gets the sword dojo, because I mean lots of sword units on both sides. Sword dojo is going to be quite decisive here, and of course a lot of this is going to come down to who is going to use the Daikyu in a more efficient manner. Because I mean, CAF-wise, both players aren't able really to do that much maneuvering. When you only have 3 CAF units in your setup, you're probably going to use it in a more defensive manner, trying to block, trying to counter. You're not going to be as proactive as you would be in a build with like 6 to 8 CAF, which is something that I like to play. So don't expect these CAF units on either side to be decisive. Although I could be wrong. I don't know the result of this match yet. This is the first time I'm watching this. But I think it's going to come down more to the infantry micro and the positioning. So these matchlock warrior was already down to 50 men, and they haven't fired a volley yet. Although they have activated extended range. I think this might have been a miss micro. And and it looks like Noobie feels he has to be a bit more aggressive here. It seems like this cavalry was used to feint a full-on attack, which isn't actually what he's planning to do here. All Noobie wanted to do is to get his matchlocks in a decent firing position. I'm not sure he needed to get a Yari CAF rank 4 as a meat shield up there. Now it's even routing at... No, it's not routing. I was just confused for a bit. But he lost 20 men in his Yari CAF. I don't know, he could have just used the Yari Ash, I guess, to absorb the volley. But I like the overall idea, trying to get a little bit closer, minimize the advantage of these range extended matchlocks, and get up close with the regular matchlocks that he has brought. Now this right-hand volley of the Matchlock Ash should be used by Noobie to push up these Matchlock Ash to return fire. I think, yeah, he appears to be doing it now. That's a good move. And then at the same time, I don't know what MiN is doing here. I don't know why these Matchlocks are that far up front, getting caught by lone swords. Seems to be just a case of mismicro. But what I think is kind of interesting here is both players are opting to deny each other the sword dojo, which is, yeah, I think quite important. You don't really want to get your opponent, you don't really want to give your opponent access to it. Workshop-wise, we see something similar. Archery dojo is really only a factor in the late game. So overall, positionally, I think this is a decent decision by both players. Terrible micro of these Matchlock Warrior Monks. They're not going to be cost efficient at all. But just as well, it appears that MiN is doing a better job right now managing this Daikyu fight. So I think in all this chaos of the engagement with the Matchlocks, that MiN was doing a better job focus firing these Daikyus. Although these Daikyus seem to be dangerously close to the Matchlocks. I wonder if they're getting return fire. But other than that, there's really not much to commentate on. This is more like a standoff between two skirmish setups. Yeah, I don't know what I can really say about this. It seems that MiN is more reluctant to send in his heavy swords, which I think is a good decision because, I mean, just by having these lone swords up in the front, maneuvering around, faking different attacks, they keep taking damage from bullets, from arrows, and MiN is much more reserved in the back with his swords, and he has one more heavy sword unit, so I think this could be a huge factor. And since this is such a static match and such a static gameplay, I think MiN has the advantage of recognizing the importance of having his leadership gen and stand and fight, supporting basically his whole army, which is within the radius. And Noobie, for some reason, has decided to be a bit more passive with his gen. He might have just forgotten about it. Maybe he wants to be super secure and doesn't want to give the Daikyu the chance to fire at it, but I think this is more down to him forgetting, and this could really cost him because the difference between stand and fight and not stand and fight is even more decisive than the difference between having a sword dojo and not having it, because it gives your units, among other things, +3 attack, and +3 attack plus an additional sword unit for MiN. I think this is a big advantage for him. We already see some units wavering, one lone sword having routed. The other one has just now popped Banzai, so it's going to be fighting for a little bit longer. But I think, yeah, this is a major oversight. Now he's noticed it. Now he's moved his general. We'll see if he can repair some things. Now this fight around the sword dojo also looks interesting, but I'm not sure if it's necessary to have a matchlock down here. It's quite a difficult terrain, as you can see here. I don't think they're going to be really impactful here, especially as there's only a Yarisam unit to fire at, and with attendants running around, the chance of you actually capping the dojo is quite low, so you might as well spend your focus your actual fighting power in the center where the main engagement is happening. Also, long Yari down here, likely not going to get charged frontally, so I mean, what's the point of having a long Yari Ash down here decapping the sword dojo when an attendant could do the same job? Like, there's an attendant, 73 men just standing around here. It could just stand around down here, and it would actually be useful. and instead he has a long Yari not contributing to the main fight, which is a main problem. And now we do see, not just in the power bar, but in general, that his forces are getting quite low in strength. Let's have a look at MiN's remaining units. He still has a 150-man lone sword, 250-man lone swords. Daikyu still standing at 34 men. He actually needs to protect it now because Noobie's Daikyu is gone, so this is a huge competitive edge he has for the late game. Matchlock wise, of course, this is clearly in favor of Noobie. But again, he's outnumbered when it comes to the sword units. It's still 2 lone swords versus 1. These Yari Ash on the field are not going to be decisive, I think. So let's see if Noobie still has Cav. He still has 34 men of Yari Cav, which is important if he wants to avoid a late game of cat and mouse with a Daikyu Samurai in the matchlocks. So he really needs to babysit this one unit to give him an edge. But right now, still, I mean, it's Matchlock and the Long Yari just busying themselves, engaging a Yari Sam, which is quite mobile, which can run away, as MiN is doing here now wisely. I think this is way too much focus on the left side still. He really needs these units now. It's still quite even, I think. Also appears to me that MiN is really is not in a favorable position. As you can see, he's kind of stuck here down in the forest, getting surrounded by both sides. His lone swords are in a weird angle, not really engaging when they could just go in here. It's 2 swords versus 1. There's really no time for MiN to waste. He's just getting shot at by the matchlocks. He's now sending in 1 sword unit, but he should just send both. I think now he's reacting. But yeah, that's something I think he could have done earlier. Just recognize the advantage in the melee fight and be a bit more aggressive early on. Now, there's actually Spears of Shitsugatake, which I haven't noticed before. Maybe I confused them with Light Cav. But either way, they died off now. Fighting Noobie's Yari Cav, which has 24 units left. Again, this unit is going to be super important in the late game. Shouldn't waste it. A good charge in the back of the Matchlock Ash, but now he rightfully pulls out. You don't want them to get caught by Nagi attendants. Yeah, I don't think it looks good for Noobie, but if he has a chance, this Yari Cav is going to be the game winner. I think these Matchlock Ash were caught by the swords, has to pull them out now. Again, this is 2 swords against 1. Noobie is going to die here very, very quickly. And let's see. It looks like the Yari Sam caught the Long Yari, but the Long Yari is in a quite decent position. I'm not able to tell if they are in spear wall, but judging by the fact that they appear to be beating the Yari Sams, I think this is timely reaction from Noobie. He got them in proper position. I think this is a waste for the Yari Sam. The Yari Sam is a very mobile unit, very strong. Therefore, in the late game, going frontally against the Long Yari Ash is never a good idea, but especially in the late game, it's a very useful unit that you don't want to waste. And even now, I mean, after all this fighting and all this intention focused on the Sword Dojo, no one is in control of it, and now would actually be now it wouldn't be a good time anymore. He doesn't have enough units left to cap it. Now he has to focus on what's actually left, and yeah, two matchlocks without protection, only an attendant. And this looks more and more like a last stand for Noobie. Daikyu on 130 kills. Again, this isn't, given that this was a pretty long game for 1 versus 1. Those aren't huge numbers, but they basically paid for themselves by killing off a level 9 Daikyu. So I think this was utilized quite nicely. And yeah, now the numbers are getting thin on Noobie's side. 20-man Cav unit has also died off. I think we can fast forward this as the result seems inevitable. Again, I think it's quite obvious what's happened here in terms of what gave MiN the edge. Too much focus or too much money spent on units around the sword dojo that they weren't needed there for Noobie. Then he forgot his general, or he was too late with his general to go into stand and fight, which meant that he had a major disadvantage in the early engagements. I liked the move with the matchlocks getting up close, but then maybe he forgot about the enemy Daikyu and didn't focus fire back, which cost him his Daikyu. I think this is kind of the main factor here, and also the slight calf advantage that he had. He didn't really use that properly because again, it's 3 calves on both sides, but given that he had 3 heavy calves, I think he needed to be a bit more proactive with it. Yeah, but anyway, it's still an interesting game. Kind of expect more infantry heavy builds on Hapo Ridge because the map isn't really that suitable for cav. Too much uneven terrain, too much running up and down, which slows them down. Too many forest patches, which are unfavorable to cav. That was to be expected, but I don't think it's necessary to go or to go as heavy on Ashigaru builds. I think you can go for Naginata Monk or Naginata Sam builds here as well. You can go for traditional sword rushes that are a bit more aggressive, less matchlock dependent. I think lots of things you can try here. But both opted to go for similar ideas, and I think MiN had a slightly better in-game management aside from the earlier mistakes with the matchlock. But yeah, anyway, interesting game. This makes it 1-0 in favor of MiN, and I'll just make a cut here, and then we'll jump straight to game 2. And we're back on game 2 on Uzui Pass, picked by Noobie, and I already like what I see. And what I see are a bunch of ninja units, 1, 2, 3, 4 ninja units, rank 6, and the Hanzo's Shadow, rank 7, as well as a Waco Raider, rank 9 with Banzai, occupying the center right of the map, where we find an archery dojo, a workshop, and a sword dojo. Let's see if the dojos will actually matter, given how hyper-aggressive this approach is. In addition to the ninja deployment units, Noobie has brought a bunch of cav. Yari cav, light cav, fire cav, Yari cav, light cav, as well as a changed general. He switched it to melee, which is quite suitable for this map. 1 attendant unit. Also, I really like this idea of 1 attendant unit in the back, given that you are basically forcing a super early engagement in the center. It's nice to have a unit in the back capping a dojo, which could be useful in the later stages. Yeah, I mean, this is always a rush map, and given that you always have to be super aggressive here, I really like this idea. It's still risky because ninja units are always risky, but I'm just glad he tries it. Then for MiN, he has an unchanged general, so still leadership. Also a bunch of chaos, although not really as much as I would expect on this map. He has a great guard, 2 of them on rank 2, and 2 light cav, so only 4 in total. And then let's see, this is quite difficult to detect. Matchlocks, only 1 matchlock, I think. Then I see a bunch of swords, Waco Raiders, Nodachi, Nodachi, Nodachi. Some attendants, some Yari Ash, and a bulletproof. So quite a balanced build, although I'm not sure you need Yari Ashigaru on this map. I think they're not really suitable for hill rushing. But let's not spend too much time talking about that build because things are already happening. At this point, MiN will have spotted the ninja units in the center with his calf. And it looks like, I mean, now it all comes down to the reaction from MiN. These matchlocks are well positioned. So he stopped the marching order right in time to get a really nice and clean volley on the Skisho Ninja.
Our general is in grave danger, my lord.
Positionally, these three ninja units on the left are a little bit misplaced because the main fighting force is all on Noobie's right. But of course, he couldn't know that beforehand. I don't think or usually you don't use Shinobi informants because you need the retainer slots for something else. But yeah, these ninjas might be a little late to the party, but they're still useful in pushing back this cavalry force because MiN doesn't really or is kind of afraid to tackle these ninjas head on, which is often a good idea when you encounter them. But given that they all have such strong backup by cavalry units, he shies away from it, and this really puts him on the back foot. I mean, he is really cornering himself in, now missing a charge with his great guard, and I mean, this is a 35 charge bonus unit. Missing a charge is a huge blunder. Now they're getting sandwiched by Yarikav. So there's some micro mistakes here. And in the center, yes, he did get some really nice shots into the Kisho Ninja, which is down to 15 men. But it appears that the rest of his main build was caught, maybe not off guard, but in a nice position. I think most of these chargers are still somewhat downhill. And I'm not sure if he... okay, there's no Ashigaru in this mix. This is a pure fight between Waiko, bulletproofs, and ninjas. But when it comes to these Ashigaru, of course, you also need to make sure that you get them all in spear wall in the right time, which is sometimes a challenge when you're getting surprised by ninjas, and then you forget spear wall or something, which can happen. Yeah, but it seems like in general, MiN's army is on the back foot. These Yari Ash aren't really contributing here. He put them in spear wall now, but they're not really getting engaged, and he's getting picked off one by one. Noobie's general trying to take out a Nodachi, which is a good choice. Orient over 50 kills, and I mean, from MiN's perspective, you have to worry so much about these ninjas and fending them off and repositioning in a really short amount of time that you're kind of forgetting that the main threat in MiN's builds is the calf. And the calf is really what broke his neck here. We saw it just a few moments ago with the calf unit coming from the right, charging the back of the Waco unit and the bulletproof, two very expensive units, usually game-changing units, both of them, and they just routed off completely with a simple hammer and anvil situation. Kisho Ninja in front, cavalry in the back, and that routed them off. So yeah, nothing really much more to say about this. I really like this approach by Noobie. Not just because it worked this time, but just because he tried it. I think it's cool to see ninjas in a competitive environment. And as I said here, had this game been a little bit more closer, then even these Naginata tenants could have a decisive impact on the game. Now in the process of capturing the workshop, really nice execution. And I don't think MiN's build really was suitable for this map. I'm not sure I could have really done anything else or could have done better with his build against Noobie's build here. This was kind of impossible to pull off. Maybe he needed to camp this forest line in the start or right from the get-go, and carefully move forwards with matchlocks, hiding behind Yariash spear wall, and yeah, making sure you get clean counter charges against ninjas with your Nodachi. Then the Cav is still going to be a problem, but maybe a bit more manageable. But it all happened so quick, so yeah, really difficult game for him. Let's have a look at the kill counts. Yeah, I mean, this is all quite impressive. Also very expensive units actually. Ninjas on rank 6. I like to use them sometimes only on level 2 because of that. But yeah, it really paid off here. And yeah, I mean, usually the arch enemy of the ninja unit is the matchlock, and on Usui Pass, people rarely play matchlocks because the map just isn't suitable, which makes the ninjas even stronger. So yeah, Great Guard still doing comparably good in relation to the rest of the army, but yeah, neither of these units I would consider having been cost effective. But yeah, let's not talk too much about it anymore. Great game by Noobie, great choice of army, well-deserved equalizer. This makes it 1-1, and the tiebreaker in the best of 3 is going to be on Rice Fields, which wasn't picked by anyone. The tiebreaker is predetermined for each round, and yeah, I'll just hop straight into that and see you there. And back we are on Rice Fields with 2 dojos and an invisible bugged third dojo, which is not going to be relevant here. So we do have a sword dojo and a shrine, both very important dojos on one side of the field, which is likely going to be the main focus of both players. And already for Noobie, I see a bunch of matchlocks, 3 in total. Again, just like in the first battle, all of them Ashigaru units and unvetted, so cheap units. Then he has a core of Naginata warrior monks, all of them on rank 6, with some retainer boosts, I think, stats-wise, making them even stronger. Then he switched back to, oh, this is interesting. So for the third battle, he has a different general. So first he had leadership, then melee, and now for the tiebreaker he uses a bow general with 200 range. Quite interesting. I like it on rice fields. It's a big map. You can run around a lot. Why not? And yeah, aside from the Naginata Warrior Core, he also has a Nodachi unit. Also big fan of that. I think whenever you have like a spear build or a Naginata build, it's always nice to supplement it with 1 or 2 cheap sword units, just to be a bit more versatile. So yeah, I like what I'm seeing. Some vanilla Yariash as well in the setup. Not a big fan of that, but we'll see. And then Cav-wise, he's very light on Cav as well. Or again, I should say, 2 Yari Cav, rank 3 and rank 6, and 2 light Cav. Or actually a third Yari Cav hidden in the back. So 5 Cav units. Yeah, quite conservative approach, I would say. And then for MiN, let's go over his build real quick. I already see there's fewer matchlocks. I only spot 1, but there might be more hidden. It's a matchlock samurai. And then for his core, he does have, let's see, Yari-Sam rank 2, Nodachi rank 2, Yari Ash, Long Yari, Nodachi, 2 more tendons, and another Nodachi. So basically, and another Yari Sam Vanilla, unchanged leadership gen. So this is basically like an approach between a Naginata Warrior Monk core and a Nodachi core. Both, I think, can be played on this map. I think Naginata Warrior Monk core is probably a little bit stronger here. Speaking in general terms, because Rice Fields is a very good map for cavalry, and which makes it hard sometimes to properly protect your infantry. And of course, Naginata Warrior Monks don't really need protection from Cav, so I think it's a safer choice to go with a Naginata Warrior Monk build than with a Nodachi build. But in a direct head-to-head, of course, Nodachis are very efficient against Naginata Warrior Monks. It's just about getting the charges right. Of course, understandably, MiN is applying a lot of pressure early on because, I mean, you can just see one matchlock against 3 matchlocks, as well as a Bogen on the field. You don't really want to waste any time and get into his face as quickly as possible. See some Cav flanking engagements. Oh, I didn't speak about the Cav. So again, there's some Great Guard on the field, which appears to be getting a great engagement against Yari Cav. I assume there's 2 Great Guards, yes, supported by 2 Light Cavs and the Katana Cav also on the field. I like this unit a lot. Now he's a bit unfortunate that Noobie doesn't really have as many sword units as you would hope when you have a Katana Cav, because it's basically ideal to counter it. But yeah, approach-wise, MiN does everything right here. It tries to force an early engagement, but it appears that he lost a Great Guard now because the Yari Cav was supported by Naginata Warrior Monks, which is a problem for him cost-wise. But I think it's not too dramatic as long as he keeps up the pressure. So lots of things happening on both sides, where MiN is forcing engagements, Nodachi fighting each other, charging frontally against the Yari Ash Vanilla, not the best idea, obviously. But what I fear is going to happen is that these matchlock SAMs are not really going to play a role. He's only now starting to move them, which I think is a little bit late. Right now, as MiN is rightly attacking the flanks, these matchlock SAMs need to be maybe here, center right, next to the sword dojo, applying pressure. And I mean, look how beautiful this would be, just firing a volley into the back of the Nagi Warrior Monks. But right now, Noobie doesn't really feel any pressure in the center, which gives him the comfort of being able to pull back and get into a safe firing position for his skirmish units. Of course, this is also quite micro-intensive now for Noobie, because when you have a Bogen, you always have to keep in mind on the late game. You always have to make sure to kill the enemy Cav, make sure your general survives and is alive and well and firing. In addition, with 3 matchlocks, you also have to keep them alive for as long as possible. So all these melee engagements with these Nagi Warrior Monks they fulfill the purpose of just buying time for the skirmish core. And the main threat for this type of builds, or for this type of general, you could say, meaning the cavalry, the Pierce has already routed off, so MiN has already lost his 2 Great Guards. There's his Katana Cav. The Katana Cav is now in a fight with Yari Cav and Nagi Monks, so they're going to die as well. And you can see in the power bar already, things are looking quite bleak. I mean, technically he won the melee fight. Nodachi broke through with the support of Yari Samus on MiN's left. Nodachi beat off Nagi Warrior Monks, although there's still two units remaining. But he doesn't really have any Cav left to chase off the matchlocks and to chase off the Bogen. So realistically, even if right now all these remaining Naginata Warrior Monks were to just disappear, MiN would have a really hard time catching all these skirmish troops. So I think this comes down to a little bit of a mismicro in terms of cavalry. It's probably a more decisive factor even than the late arriving matchlock SAM. I mean, just look at this. I mean, 2 matchlocks in the center, Bojan in the center,
Our men
with
are
1 or
running
2
from the
more heavy calf
battlefield.
units just applying pressure
Save
here,
for
being a
disgrace.
nuisance, fake charging, running around, just being an ever-present threat. This would look very different, this type of game. Because even though this looks quite secure now, this was, I think, quite a risky build by Noobie. I like the overall idea, as I said earlier. I think Nagi Monks are a good choice. I think Bojan is a good idea. Matchlocks, of course, always do quite well on an even map like Rice Fields. But the combination of Bow General and these amount of Ashigaru units is always a huge risk. Like, there's always a rest chance of a mass rout happening, and there's really no comparing it to the sturdiness of units under a leadership gen. So, okay, now as I say that, Noobie has actually managed to capture the shrine in the meantime, which is huge. Without the shrine, some of these units may not have been on the battlefield anymore at this point. I think this shrine is even more decisive than the sword dojo here. I mean, +3 morale makes a huge difference in keeping these matchlocks in the game and keeping the Nagi monks in the game. But yeah, now I think he is over. Yeah, very interesting. I mean, this wasn't really down to. I don't. Of course, it's down to micro as well, but I think approach-wise, the decisive factor really was the calf here. It looks like MiN didn't really pay too much attention, micromanaging his calf, which he put a lot of money into. I mean, it was 2 great cards. So you have to make sure you not only beat the enemy's Yari calf, but you get more out of them on top of that, because that's what you're paying the price for. And he didn't really do that. Even with the additional Katana calf, I didn't really see an impact there. I mean, they were just kind of there, and then a minute later, it seemed like all of MiN's calf has disappeared from the battlefield, which just shows me that you should have given them a little bit more attention. You don't really need to micro your infantry that much. I mean, especially if you have like a no-dachi core, it's not micro-intensive. You give a couple attack orders, make sure the overall direction is right, make sure they don't get exposed to frontal calf chargers, which wasn't really a threat here. And then you have a lot of time on your hands managing your calf, which is your game winner against the bow calf setup. I think compared to that, like, this late arriving matchlock is negligible as a factor. But again, in general, also, I have to say, I think this counts for both players. Get rid of the Yariash. You don't need to bring Yariash every game. They're useful sometimes, but so many scenarios where you could have just brought like 1 or 2 attendants more and put the additional money into further upgrades for your core units. I think the unit is slightly overused right now. But yeah, that's just my opinion on that. So either way, I think those were 3 very interesting games. This makes the final score 2-1 in favor of Noobie, who advances to round 3. And as for MiN, we will see more of him in the lower bracket, as this is a double elimination format. So for now, I'm just going to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next commentary, probably also from round 2 of the current tournament. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.